So today is January 28th, 2019.
And 10 years ago, we got married.
On the beach in the Dominican Republic. So we decided, after 10 years of surviving together and still being married, and I think still wanting to be married, I'm just gonna confirm this, right? You still want to be married to me?
I guess I'll keep you.
All right, so we figured, you know what, let's provide some advice for our future children's futures. Does that make sense?
Our children of the future.
We
Our
don't have
children of the future.
Okay.
When they're older.
Okay. This is all very confusing. We've made it 10 years.
And we just want to share with them what we've learned so far.
Yes. So to our children, when they're ready to take that next step in life and get married or do
when they're
whatever
like
they want.
40.
Okay.
A long time from now.
Yes, whenever they feel like it, if they ever feel like it. But here's some advice I think that's helped us survive 10 years together. I will let you begin, ladies first.
So one thing that my mom always told me, well, as a young adult anyway, was it's better to be happy than to be right. And so there will be times where being right, even though you might be right, but trying to reiterate that to your partner, it's just not worth it. That it's just better to be happy and to just let things go and move on. Because,
AKA choose your battles.
right, because you're never gonna agree on everything, that's for sure. And it's better to be happy.
As long as you got the big stuff, like, hey, we're gonna have kids.
Well, that should be worked out before you embark on
This journey, that is true.
a commitment, a lifelong commitment.
Okay, so advice to you guys. Decide if you want to have kids before you get married. Fair enough?
Yes, but the point is, just it's better to be happy than to be right,
Okay.
regardless of what the discussion is. The other thing that I've worked on is to ignore or try to look for the good in your partner. There's always going to be things that are going to annoy you, like when he's constantly putting his dirty clothes on the floor beside the hamper instead of in the hamper. There's always going to be stuff like that that's going to bother you, and it could be very easy to let that really get to you. But you have to let those things go, because ultimately it's not the end of the world and there's much more important things. It kind of like goes along with pick your battles.
It really does. Yeah.
But to just focus on the good, because you're not perfect either, and you're gonna be doing stuff that's gonna annoy the other person to no end. I mean, none of us are perfect. So look for the good, focus on the good instead of the bad. Do you want to share something?
No, I'll let you keep going and I'll comment on yours.
The other thing that I've learned is that as you serve one another, as you help each other, your love for the person will grow. Doing things for the other person.
Yes. That they want done for them.
And it could be little things like, I take your car and I notice there's almost no gas, so I fill it up with gas. Or, you know, it doesn't have to be something that you necessarily think, oh, I need this done. It would just be doing thoughtful things for the other individual that you know they would appreciate, or that it'll just make their day a little bit easier, or whatever it is. Just, yeah, it can be small things.
Yes.
But just helping each other out. And when you focus on that, it's easier to forget about
The pile of clothes that I've left.
The pile of clothes left on the floor.
Yes. My strategic pile of clothing. Okay, continue.
And then the last thing I think that I have thought of is to just always keep talking, to talk things out. Because keeping things bottled up and just staying annoyed and having that fester, and then it's gonna end up blowing up in some other moment down the line. And so it's just really important to have good communication and talk things through. Talk about your feelings. Talk about why you didn't like that thing or why you did like that thing. Either way, talking.
Yes, talking is good. All right. Now see, she was so organized, she made a little list. I did no such thing.
Of course not.
So let me think here. What's the best advice to give these 3 little boys as they look at this when they're much older or as they're growing? They just kind of go back to refer to it.
And really, these are things for like all types of relationships, whether it's a friend.
Yeah.
These things.
Applicable across the board.
To all
Applicable
relationships.
across the board, right? Can help everyone. All right, so I think some of the biggest things, you covered a lot of the important things, right? You covered communication, right? We've covered helping the other person out, serving them. We've covered the...
Picking your battles.
Picking your battles. You really got some good ones,
What
didn't
have you learned?
What have I learned over 10 years? Okay.
I mean, I know I'm pretty much perfect.
Here's actually, speaking of that, right? This is the way I approach this. I set this as the bar everyone else has to try to live up to.
Set what?
You were the bar.
I don't know about that. He loves me.
Wow, that's quick, doesn't it? Man.
What were you gonna say?
I don't even remember. I was just starting to think about something emotional. Maybe that should be a tip. Don't be afraid to express your emotions. My eyes, they're sweating right now. There's an eye sweat forming, right? Just thinking about how much I love her. Just like that.
Tell each other. So one thing that I force him to do, no matter what time he's leaving in the morning, is he can't leave the house without saying goodbye and giving me a kiss.
Hey, okay.
Just can't. It's not allowed. Even if I'm sleeping, he's required to. Even if I don't even realize it, he's required to.
90% of the time, she is sleeping and yes. Especially when I leave super early in the morning. A lot of people talk about marriage as being like a ball and chain and all that kind of other stuff. Don't buy into that nonsense.
It's not really how it's supposed to be.
No.
If it is, then you both are doing something wrong.
Yes. It's not a ball and chain. I've come to the conclusion that being married is pretty awesome.
It does change over time, right?
Yes.
I mean, who we were at the beginning, the first couple of years, of being married, and then events that occur in life that also, shape who you are and stuff. And so, and that's okay. Your relationship is gonna change. It's not gonna look the same at 10 years as it did at 1 to 2 years, nor should you necessarily expect it to, because you wanna keep growing as individuals.
Yes.
And you wanna keep growing together. And so, that's okay, not to try to think you need to fit in that mold or be exactly like you were back at the beginning.
Yes, if you've been married for 10 years and you as a person haven't grown in those 10 years, you guys really need to reevaluate how you're doing things. Because clearly you've not learned a lot of life lessons we've been trying to teach you as we've been going along.
But just because you do grow and change as time goes on, it's not like you're gonna end up being a completely different person necessarily, but.
Okay, this is how it works, right? Once you become married, you guys, you're individuals, but you evolve individually and together, right? So your relationship's gonna evolve and change and grow, and you're gonna evolve and change and grow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's gonna be some points where there's gonna be growing pains.
Yes.
But ultimately, if you know where you want to go in the end, if you have a shared vision, it makes life so much easier.
And so that's why talking is so important, because these things are going to change. You're going to change. Maybe even your ideals or your vision will change.
Yes.
And that's okay, but talk about it, and so that you can kind of stay on the same path.
Yes. Was it do something you love and you never work another day in your life or something like that? What is that phrase? Is that how that goes?
Maybe. But I was just thinking, like, the first few years of our marriage really didn't require a whole lot of work. Like, everything came easy. We were happy. Everything was okay. Now, obviously, different things in life happen.
As you hear right now, we've got kids beating on one door, kids crying on the other side. Marriage is easier at first.
Well, for us, it certainly was.
Yes.
You would always say, I think we're doing something wrong because I want to spend time with you. We would go everywhere together. We would always be together. And anyway, it was easy. It seemed effortless.
I still think we're still like that a lot, though.
Yeah, I mean, life is a little different now than it used
logistically,
to be.
there's 3 more moving parts.
So it changed a little bit, but there's been some moments where it requires more work than others. That's just my point, I guess. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's harder, but ultimately it's okay. It's normal for certain times to be harder than others. I love you.
I love you. There's a basic tip. Just remember that. This is all you guys gotta remember. Love whoever you choose to love. Put in the work to make it work. And enjoy the ride. You're gonna grow together, you're gonna have fun together. When anyone complains about marriage, they just aren't doing it right. Because I kind of like being married. It's kind of worked out really well for me. There's never been a time I'm like, oh, I wish I wasn't married. Oh, the old ball and chain. No. Just no.
Hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Maybe we'll have to do this again in another 10 years to see what new things we can add
That is very
to
true.
that.
The 20 year, that's a big one,
because,
right? Yeah.
You know, we're still learning, we're still growing,
Yes.
and that should never stop, so.
As we're taking our lives in a totally new direction, right?
I'm gonna get sad again.
I am. Well, not sad.
Not
Sad's
sad,
what
but
it is.
cry.
I couldn't do it without her. I just couldn't.
Oh, it's 10 years and we downgraded. We've downgraded our rings in preparation for travel.
So now
we
we've got the little silicone rings that are cheap, easy.
the
to-
Enzo rings.
Yes.
They're pretty nice, they're comfortable. And I still have my real one that I
Yes.
will still wear.
And my wedding ring
obviously,
wasn't exactly expensive either. Mine was
No.
$70 or something. So.
But anyway, you don't gotta upgrade, is the point.
Yes.
Just because it's been 10 years. We love you. We think you're growing up to be awesome boys. I'm excited to see the men that you'll become. Excited to enjoy this ride together.
Yes. And remember, one day when your kids are grown and they're all old and they've left you, you're going to be the only two depending on each other. At the end of the day,
You don't want to relearn how to have a relationship
yes. So prioritize that now, right?
to make it easier down the line.
Yes. Kids are important, but your marriage is even more important. So, here's the next 10 years.